Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger. And today I am joined by special guests, Coach Deborah Baska. Thanks for joining us, Deb.
Thank you for asking me. This is exciting. I haven't been on the Prep Life podcast for a while. So,
I know. I was just thinking about that. And I think the last time you came on, we were introducing you as a coach and kind of telling your story about how you got into competing and all of that. So give us some life updates on what you've had going on. I know we wanted to recap Masters Nationals that just happened this weekend. So
yeah. Well, thank you for giving me some prep questions. So I did kind of go through life updates since we last talked, and I think there's been a lot.
yeah,
Um, I am now working with Angel Competition Bikinis. So that's a big life update. So
yeah,
that's been really exciting and has allowed me to bring a lot of information back to the team, to Glam World, just because I'm going to so many shows and interacting with so many athletes, pro athletes, sponsored athletes, Olympian athletes. So that's been really a great benefit to my whole entire, like, my world of bikini, because I've made bikini was my hobby, and then it's become kind of my career, and with
not kind of.
coaching.
I think
Yeah,
100%
yeah,
of
it is
your
my
career.
career with
Yeah,
coaching and with suits, and it's kind of just like my passion. So my whole life is kind of revolving around bikini. So that's been a big life change. Just kind of fun stuff. I mentioned, like, I became a grandma.
yay.
Yes, I became a grandma.
Congrats.
So I did age up, as you will, in the bikini world to the age of 55 and up. So prior
Yeah,
to, of course, the whole 5 years that I've been a competitor, I've been in the 50 and up category. So
yeah.
I'm in a new
So
category now.
how was it in the 55?
Oh my gosh. I don't know why I thought it might be easier. I don't know. But
It never is, especially in
it
Masters. I
never
feel like it's
is.
growing so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. My first year as a national competitor, I was top five
Mhm.
at the show I just attended. I came in top five as my first national show. I went with you and my friend Jamie, and we both placed. And it was, oh, wow, this is so fun. And it's so easy. Like, who knew we could just come to nationals and walk away with hardware?
Yeah. Well, it
It's
wasn't that
it's
easy
not,
because you did have a good class and a bigger
yeah.
class.
No,
So
I know it wasn't. I mean, but I didn't know. I had no comparison. I never been to
sure.
nationals. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I came away with. So, and then I've gone back every year, and I haven't come away with hardware every year. So, it has definitely, I think that the competition has gotten a lot more intense. I think the masters
Hmm.
ages are this just booming age group in the sport.
Hmm.
I mean, the show I just did, they said it will probably be the biggest show of the year, if not one of the biggest, but
Wow.
the big, because there was almost 1,000 competitors, and it was
Awesome.
over 5 days, and they had men and women, they had all the categories. But yeah, the masters are bringing it. And so last year when I was competing in my last year at 50s, there's only 4 opportunities for a masters competitor to get their pro card. So last year I did 3 of them. And then
In
the
the United
55
States.
in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 55 and up group last year wasn't very large. I think, I don't know. I feel like there was like maybe 5, maybe 8.
Yeah. There's
I
never
don't know.
more than like, I usually see like three, two. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Well,
small usually.
this year there was
Wow.
almost 40 women. There's 38, but yeah. And they only have 2 height classes. So I did something I never thought I would ever do. And I stood on stage next to, women that were 5'9", next to my little 5'4 1/4".
That makes a big
So
difference in the
yeah. So
physiques. It's not really comparing apples to
yes,
apples completely.
yes, yeah. So it was definitely, yeah. The classes were, and they're 60 and up. Amy had, I think, like 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's grown probably by like five times the amount that it was last year, even.
Yeah.
Just
So I just have to say shout out to all of the ladies that are competing, the men too, but we're focusing on the women,
yeah.
and shout out to them for inspiring other women, because that's what we're doing. That's why the sport at our age is growing so dramatically. It's because we're inspiring other women to say, oh, really? I can do that at this
Yes.
age.
Yeah. And I mean, you started your bikini career at 50, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you really, have paved the way for a lot of these people thinking it's possible, because I get that question a lot on consultations where they're just like, I'm 50, like, is this too late for me? I'm like,
Yeah.
heck no, it is not. I mean, I even get that question at people in their 40s. They think that it's too late for them.
Yeah.
So age is just a number. And
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of the fountain of youth too. I mean,
mhm,
I don't know. I don't feel my age. I don't know. Like every day, I don't think I look my age. Some days I do. It's like I look in the mirror, like, yeah, you look your age. But most of the time,
no,
I
you
don't
don't.
think I do. So I definitely think it's a fountain of youth. I mean, when you
Absolutely.
keep your body strong, keep your bones strong, keep your heart strong, keep your spirit strong, I definitely think it shows. Yeah.
Yeah. And just drinking the water, eating the clean
The
foods,
water.
it does so much for your skin. There you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything about Masters Nationals that you would like to share with the audience in terms of just, I mean, you mentioned that obviously it's grown, so that's an obvious one. Are there any other changes that you felt like were different this year as opposed to last year's experience or previous?
I think it's always interesting. Well, what was interesting, I thought, was Sandy didn't judge bikini this year.
That
So
is
I
crazy.
was like, where's Sandy? So
Smiling
that was
face.
definitely different. If Sandy, if people don't know, is the, go ahead, tell us.
Oh, the
The
women's head
women's judge,
judge.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for NPC and IFBB. But so as far as like one of the things I feel like my coach and I talked about it is we've kind of been like chasing judges' feedback,
Uh-huh.
so, and it's like at the beginning of last year, I, got feedback to do a particular thing, and then we did that. And then it was almost like, okay, now there's something else. There's always something else. But
Hmm.
I think, and it's almost like then you get feedback to kind of go back to the way you were. And so I think the judges' feedback is super important. So always get that, always ask for that. But I think you also have to, I think, kind of package it all up with, your own personal experience, how you feel best. And I've had people say to me, I mean, like, I'm like, yeah, like they say I get too hard up top, but I'm like, but I really like my shoulders. I like having, really defined shoulders that
Those
kind
great
of
ones.
attract, yeah, that kind of attract attention, where people are like, wow, look at your shoulders, and so I've even had the pros, and even Olympians, as I've been talking to them, tell me, how do you feel best? How do you feel best in your body?
Hmm.
And so why don't you, keep, you need to do what makes you feel best. And if that's, within the criteria of the division that you're working in, of course, but at the end of the day, not everybody's going to walk away with the first place, but do you walk away feeling good about how you looked?
Hmm.
And so that's something I'm really trying to soak in and take in, and not just, because going into the show, I felt very like super focused, like, oh, I got to get my pro card, 55. I'm just turned 55. I'm the young one in the group now. And,
Uh-huh.
and then when I knew it wasn't going to happen, like after prejudging, and I wasn't as upset as I thought I would be. I thought I would be devastated, Amy, but I wasn't. And then I
So
had
glad
to
to hear
ask
that.
myself, I was like, well, what, how do you feel? And I just thought, and I did all those posts on my Instagram prior, kind of telling, kind of for my own accountability, like how I want to feel. And I think that's how I felt, is like, I feel, what, I'm 55, I'm here on stage, I'm fit, I'm kind of rocking this bikini, even though, I may not win my pro card, but I can go on vacation with my husband next month and I can feel really super confident. And that is really, at the end of the day, how I want to live my life. I want to feel that
Yeah.
confidence on and off stage.
Yeah. And I think it's all you can do is bring your very best and improve every single time. And I feel like you really did. When we chatted before you even competed, and I was just like, this is your best physique. And I just think that at the end of the day is the most important thing, is that you're constantly improving and bringing your absolute best, and you keep evolving and you keep growing in the sport and getting better and better. So I just admire your tenacity, and I'm kind of getting a little misty just thinking about, like, just, I don't know, you just really don't give up. And I love that grit about you. So I just think
Thank you.
that's
That
pretty
means a
cool.
lot. That means a lot because, you know, when you're living your life, you don't sometimes recognize the effort or the what you're putting into it. And when other people can tell you, like from outside looking in, I see that you have tenacity and you have this. And, sometimes we just need to hear that to kind of remind ourselves, that you do have
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for, constantly pushing and pushing, and you just keep getting better and better. So, kind of with that being said, I know you talked about you didn't really want to chase feedback, but did that judge in particular, do you know what the name of him was, or like if you
I
stayed
don't have,
after?
they don't
Okay.
have the feedback yet. And since Sandy
Okay.
wasn't there, I don't think staying after. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the emails haven't been posted yet.
Okay. So as far as like your plans moving forward, are you allowed to tell us what your thoughts are?
Yeah. So, a lot of the girls from the show are going on to North Americans, which is the next opportunity for us to win our pro card.
Uh-huh.
I did that show last year and it was even more competitive
Yeah.
than Masters Nationals because North Americans, the Canadians, it's all North America. So,
Hmm.
you get all of the additional, not just the US.
Yep.
And those women brought it. I was like, you think you're competing with the same people because you kind of do, like
Yeah.
from Universe to North to Masters Nationals. And then you get to North America, it's like,
It's like,
who are all these other amazing women? Like, where did they come from? Oh, they came from Canada. They came from. So no,
Yeah.
I'm not planning to North Americans. Um, you know, um, and then my next show is going to be a fun show. It's going to be in Hawaii at the
Ooh.
Sean Ray Classic. So Angel Competition Bikinis is one of the sponsors for the show. And
Oh,
so Sean
awesome.
Ray, gave us a couple of entries, and Kara, our owner of Angel, was kind enough to let me have one of them. So I'm
Oh,
going to go to
wow.
Hawaii and compete.
Yay. That's so
Yes.
exciting. What
Yes.
what month is that?
It's in November.
Oh, perfect time. You always want to
Yeah,
go when it's cold
it's
here.
like a week. It's like a week or two after Olympia. So that's one of
Okay.
the things that's kind of a big change in my life too, is just a lot of travel. And
Mhm.
so, how do you prep when you're traveling? I mean, it's like I'm traveling all the time for Angel. And the good thing about it is when I travel with others from the business, we're all packing our food,
Yeah.
we're all prepping. So, I was just chatting with somebody, one of my clients, my coaching clients, about, you know, healthy doesn't just happen. Workouts don't just happen. It comes with planning and pre-planning,
Absolutely.
so when I get on an airplane, I have my bags of food, as I know you do. You've done some great podcasts about how to, take your food and keep your prep going on the road. So,
Nice.
for me, it depends upon how close I am, when
Hmm.
I like, we have a lot of our Angel fashion shows coming up. So I'll be going to the Tampa Pro in a few days.
Oh,
Then
wow.
I'll be going to, we're going on vacation, my husband and I, then coming back, going to the San Antonio Pro for the Masters only fashion show. If you haven't applied for that, do, because it's only Masters. It's going to be amazing. We
What
got
date
Las
is that?
Vegas. The
Just
Masters
curious.
Fashion Show is September 23rd, and it's in San
Okay.
Antonio. It's kind of like the halftime for the San Antonio Pro. But if
That's
your guys
awesome.
aren't familiar with the fashion shows that Angel Competition Bikini does, Amy has been in a couple of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're
it's
so
like a
fun.
weekend. It's a weekend experience. I mean, we're going to do photo shoots. You're going to get a fabulous, fully blinged out suit. You're going to get all kinds of swag goodies, and like our iconic purple bomber jacket that everybody sees. So, and you just get to, bodybuilding can be an isolating sport sometime. And so when you go to the fashion shows, you start to become a part of this community of women. And I'm telling you, the women that have, we have several that have done multiple of our fashion shows. And, we're friend. I mean, you go to a show like Masters Nationals and all these people backstage because you've been in a show with them.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool experience.
Yeah. I like too that it gives you, if you're not competing and you're maybe in an improvement season, just gives you like a little mini goal or, people are kind of walking on in the fashion show in all stages of life. I've even seen people that are pregnant and
Yes.
yeah, it's just really cool to see that.
Yeah. And
Just showing
that's,
like women's bodies in different lights other than just
and
suits to
I'm
me.
glad you pointed that out, because that is really, really true. And we've had more and more applicants that either have never competed before and are
Hmm.
wanting to test the waters, or maybe don't really have that as a goal. Like they live a fit life. They don't necessarily know that they want to be a competitor, but they kind of want to live the life. They want to get on stage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, we would love to see more, female athletes from the world of CrossFit, from pole dancing, from Zumba, from, whatever sport you're in. We want to celebrate women's bodies, fit
Yeah.
in any sport at any age. And doing the Masters Only fashion show, I mean, I kind of feel it's like my personal little baby, just because I feel
Hmm.
like since I came to Angel a little over 2 years ago, I think I've been the voice there of bringing masters competitors to a higher view on our
Yeah,
Instagrams, on our social media, by
definitely.
our sponsored athletes. We're sponsoring more and more. So I kind of take pride in the fact that the company is really stepping up with that.
Yeah, I like that a ton. So, kind of speaking in that same vein, can you talk about just popular suit colors that you're seeing on stage that are placing well? Any kind of new cuts or styles that people need to know about for 2023 to look their very best and get those top placements?
Yeah. Well, so we were talking about trends. I made some lists. Um, Barbie pink is trending. It's trending. And, Miss Olympia, Bikini Olympia, Maureen
Yeah,
Blanquisto, last year she came on and won the title in a pink suit. But now we've got this
that
whole
helps.
Barbie craze going on.
Uh-huh.
It's like I see a lot of pink suits. We at the company, I mean, are doing a lot of our cotton candy Nova, which is, pink with some sapphire on it. So that's
Okay.
definitely trending. I don't know that I've seen as far as a lot of like winners in it yet.
Okay.
What do you think? Have you paid attention to that?
I mean, I know that like Jess the vet wears pink and she does pretty well in the pro stage. And then obviously Miss Bikini Olympia. I haven't
Hmm.
seen a ton of pro card winners at the amateur level yet
Hmm.
because I'm thinking that a lot of people are sticking to the
Yeah,
reds, the blues,
yeah.
like the very standard colors, just because they're just trying to fit into
Safer,
the criteria, whereas like a
safer.
pro already fits the criteria.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right, Amy. I think that's probably, the pink, even the Barbie pink, is a little bit more of a risky color.
mhm,
So I think,
yeah,
like you said, the winners are the people that are placing top. Typically, they're going to the nationals to get their pro card, and they're wanting to stay like in that tight box of
mhm,
more
and following
familiarity.
the rules,
Yeah.
the classic
So,
rules
I
anyway.
mean, definitely red is always a trending color. That was red and then blue. I think our top colors at the end of last year were blue, red, purple, and then you get into like the emerald greens.
Yep.
So those are the top four as far as colors go. Primary colors, keep it bright, keep it sparkly. It doesn't matter if it's your first show or your 10th show. You're going to be on stage with women that are in beautiful sparkly suits.
Yeah.
That's one of the things when I'm consulting with first time competitors. Sometimes they'll come on and say, well, it's my first show, I don't want to get on and be too over the top. It's like, you know be over the top.
Yeah. Do
This is
you
your
want to do
opportunity. Yeah, I mean, because it does, I don't almost think they think, well, if I get on there and I wear like this really gorgeous suit and it's, fully crystallized, that people might think that, I'm overstepping, like I'm just a first timer, but there's no such thing.
No.
You can get on stage for the first time and place first, and you
Yeah.
can
You can win the
go to
overall.
nationals.
I've seen
You can
that
go to
happen.
nationals for the first time and win your pro card.
Yeah.
So,
Totally
yeah.
true. Yeah. So as far as I know, you guys kind of have the new V in the bottoms and the front, which I love. Are there any other changes that you guys have made majorly in terms of what the suits look like for this year? I feel like the trim too, maybe when I was talking with Savannah at headquarters, she was saying that you guys have like the smaller crystals around the trim, which I like, that they kind
Yeah,
of
so
flow out.
we're always wanting to improve. And that's one thing I love about Angel is you're always going to see us stay on top of the trends. So what are judges wanting? What are they rewarding? What are competitors? What are the pros? What are the Olympians coming back to us with? So we have made some improvements to our cuts this year. So like you said,
Mhm.
our bikini and our wellness bottoms now are the same. So
Yeah.
the wellness bottoms now do have an official requirement to be a V in the front. Whereas
Okay.
last year they didn't. Last year it was like,
Okay.
oh, it doesn't really matter. This year, if you look at the rules and regulations, it does say V for the wellness. But we're
Okay.
also doing that with the bikini. So they're the same now. One thing we did add just now is an advanced fit option, which is a sharp V. So we've actually had a lot of
Oh,
bikini competitors, pro levels, asking us to make that V even sharper. So
okay.
like this is my suit. Like you see, it's just a gentle V. It's kind of just
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing with the new fit is it's going to have a dart right here, like a dart instead of just a cut. It's going to be a sharp V. So
Okay.
that's an advanced fit option.
Okay.
Um, so that's the one of the changes. I'm trying to think. Our molded tops are still the same. We have molded, we have standard, which one is best for you. I always suggest you set up a consultation with a suit consultant to go
Yeah.
through fit and what's best for you, because the worst feeling is when somebody has already ordered their suit and then they book the consultation and they're like, oh man. And then we change like everything because, if you're a first time competitor, especially, it's
I
a
don't know.
lot to take
Yeah.
in. I mean, it's a lot. But other than that, we've added in, we've changed the way we do our adjustable necklines. So now there's a little hook in the middle.
Oh,
So
okay.
instead of just having it slip over your head, now there's a hook and you can still adjust it. So I love that. I
Nice.
have really gone to no ties on my suit. So I don't have ties around my neck, don't have ties around my back. Um, and then we also added in clear straps on the back of our figure suits. So that's
Okay.
now an option too, where the crisscross is. So now you
Yeah.
can choose to have clear because that's been something that's requested as well.
Yeah, I could see how that would be advantageous when you think about everything from a judge's perspective and you think about how that's going to show your physique on stage. Everything's about illusion of the eye, right? So when we have those V cuts, your waist automatically looks more narrow. It's why we don't wear our connectors horizontally.
Yeah,
We wear
yeah,
them vertically as much as possible, so that it makes your waist look smaller to the eye. And I could see how in the back having the
yeah.
crisscrosses be clear, how it can make your back look a little bit bigger, maybe.
Yeah,
But
and you mentioned the crystal trim. Yeah, we took away crystal trim altogether. So
yeah, I'm glad for that.
we changed our stitching. It was, I mean, sewing terms, cover stitch versus rollover hem.
Yeah.
So we don't attach. So now it's just a smooth look. So on
Mm.
your standard tops, it's just going to be a smooth look all the way to the edge. Same way with our molded. So there's no more crystal trim. It's
Yeah.
all crystals to the edges. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how
Some
you
other.
guys are, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like how you're now this year doing all of the posing suits in the fabric of the suit so that it fits exactly like,
Mhm.
so you can kind of try out a cut or a
Yeah.
style and see how it looks in a less expensive way. um,
Yeah, and practice suits, I was just telling my team, I mean, that's my number one recommendation. If you've not ever shopped with us before, I recommend getting a practice suit because that is a really less expensive way to get that fit and that everything just right.
mhm.
No guessing, because when you're getting ready to spend, I was actually doing a consultation with somebody the other day and she mentioned her budget and I'm like, well, so what is it? And she's like, well, I really rather not spend like over 1,200. I'm like, what? At Angel Competition Bikinis, our suits are not anywhere near that. But even if you're spending $600 on a suit, you want to know, okay, this is the right size, this is the right fit. So practice suits are definitely, we're having our Christmas in July sale, 25% off through the end of the month. Glam Girl code will get you
Yeah.
25% off. And that helps the team a little bit too. So take advantage of that, get a consultation book. We have a ton of suits and are ready to ship. So if you've got a show coming up soon, you can get a great deal and get it
Awesome.
very quickly. So
Yeah, I've
that's
been
good.
sharing that code too with people that want to order teamwear, and I'm like, get
Yeah,
your stuff now because that's the only time you have it discounted that low is for Black Friday, right?
yeah, twice a year.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's awesome. Okay, so kind of shifting gears, what has been your favorite show that you've ever done of all time? I
Hmm.
know you've done quite a few, so
You know, I really, really, really enjoyed the Nashville Fit Show last year.
okay.
And
Seem like fun.
yeah, I would say, trying to think, I really enjoyed Universe too. But I don't know. I just never done that one. And I just felt that it was just really low key and it just felt I don't know, and I placed top five, so that was really fun. But going back to Nashville Fit Show, I mean, this is the second year we're sponsoring Angel Competition Bikinis is sponsoring it. We did the first time last year and working with Whitney Weiser. She's just a top-notch promoter. She's, a female promoter, which there's not a whole lot of them in the industry. She's an Olympian, a former Olympian. She has built an amazing business with her Fit Life productions and things like that. She brings a lot of value to the Nashville area. And the show was just all for women. It was just all women, and she treated everybody great. We got great swag bags. The camaraderie backstage was amazing. I just thought it was a super fun show. She had a great expo, great stage, great music, great photography. So kudos. I would definitely recommend that show.
Yeah, and I interviewed her on this podcast, and she has an incredible story
Yeah.
about how she
She has
got
a
ran
great story.
over, crushed her spine.
Yeah.
Um, Unbelievable. And she did that before she became a pro
Before,
and got
yeah, and
qualified
before,
for an Olympian. So the
yeah.
fact that she bounced back after that, never feeling like she was maybe going to walk again, ran over by a car. Okay, so what has been like what are some of your favorite things about just like living the prep life?
You know, it's so interesting because at this point, I almost don't know any other way of life. So, I mean,
It's
and
natural.
some people might say, oh, that's really super unbalanced. And I don't think it is at all because the prep life is about living a balanced life year round.
Yep.
And so, I love the fact that with the prep life, I can apply a measure of discipline to my life on a daily basis. And so the level of discipline varies depending upon if I'm in building season, improvement season, prep season, peak week, and all that. So I've been able to incorporate living all of my life. Like I said, I mean, I travel, my husband and I've been on
Yeah.
a cruise like 3 weeks out from a show,
Yeah. And you did
and
great.
I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't, I believe that life is always going to happen, so using life as an excuse not to do something is not my typical go-to.
Uh-huh.
This year in particular, my husband had some very serious health conditions that, basically from March until June, I mean, he was in and out of the hospital, emergency room visits, ambulance rides, two spinal surgeries. He was basically, like, I'd say almost entirely dependent on me,
Yeah.
because it was a situation. So he was losing feeling in his fingers. He couldn't walk. He was falling all the time. And,
Hmm.
I'm trying to pick him up and he can't help me because he can't, he has no muscle control. I mean, it was super, super scary. I mean, like, I
Yeah.
think it's the scariest thing I've ever been through because I'm thinking, number one, spinal surgery is very serious. Is he going to come out of it? That was the extreme to,
Yeah.
is he going to come out of it and be permanently disabled. Happy to say he is not right now. He is
Yay.
like, I mean, he's walking around doing his thing. He started working out again. I mean, it's just crazy. But
Fantastic.
I mean, I spent more time in the hospitals, more time like not sleeping because I couldn't sleep because he was falling, and it was
Yeah.
just, yeah.
I
But
remember that you had to have your daughter come over just so that you could go to work out or just get a break, like an
yeah, because
hour break.
he couldn't be left alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was really scary. So that's my point is, life happens, and there's some
Sure.
things, it's a choice,
Hmm.
For me, what kept me sane, because I felt really insane. I felt super panicky about just life in general,
Yeah.
thinking about, and the other thing I noticed, like when your partner is in, you know, and unable to really like move around, much less mind. I mean, he was in so much pain and on so much medication. I was in the position in the first time in almost 29 years of marriage of having to make decisions by myself,
Yeah.
like important decisions. And just, I feel like I'm a very strong woman, but I felt super vulnerable and super like, like small. It's like, this is so scary.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad to hear
So,
that he came out of that on top. And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, I really relied on my kids and my friends. And my friends, the majority of them are in the prep life. They're
yeah,
people I have become friends with through the sport. And they're near and far, here, elsewhere. And you all were the ones that were texting me and providing encouragement. And like my friend Dusty, she's never met John, but she and her husband sent him gifts in the
oh,
hospital, and they're
that's so
just so
sweet.
supportive. So that's this community. That's this community of women.
Oh, man, yeah, I'm so glad to hear that he's healthy and kudos to you too for, sticking with your goals throughout that time of stress. And I mean, that's a
Yeah.
hard thing to do.
But that's
So,
what I was going to say. I mean, it's like the only time I would leave the house was to go to the gym,
mhm, yeah,
and my family recognizes that that's what keeps me healthy.
mhm,
And so they were
yeah,
so awesome about, yeah, mom, I'll come over. Or even his sister, she's like, yeah, I'll come over. And it's like, thank you for
yeah.
understanding.
It's like your stress relief time, your me
Yeah,
time.
thank you. Yeah.
So, anything that you've seen over the last 5 years that you feel like has changed in the sport, whether it be, you know, kind of about like your own journey or things that you feel like have changed?
Um, you know, I think I think we definitely evolve. The more we're in the sport, you start out, maybe it's a bucket list item, maybe it's like, oh, what's this? And then you get on stage, and you can go one of two ways. You can say, oh, that was fun, I did it, good to go, let's do the next thing. Or you get on stage like someone like myself, and you're like, okay, I want more, I want to do this again and again. So that's kind of the evolution for me. And every year I've approached it differently. And I'm a competitive person, and that's what I like about the sport is that when you're 55 years old, 50, whatever, I mean, a lot of us you came from competitive sports, but when you get into a certain age, like what can you do competitively and be like a serious athlete?
Yeah, yeah,
This is something that you can do. And I have a lot of women that I talk to that have come into the sport from, they were competitive, gymnasts in high school, they did track in college, they played sports, they did this. And now this is allowing them to kind of fulfill that competitor in them at the age that they are in their life. So that's what I really
absolutely.
like about it. I just think the biggest change I've seen is just there's just a lot more. It just I don't know if it's just because I'm in the world every day, all day, but it seems like there's just a lot more competitors, and people know about the sport. They understand a little bit more about it. When you say, like, I used to say I was a bikini bodybuilder. Now I just say I'm a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Like,
and
oh,
people understand.
yeah, I'm a bodybuilder. That's what I do. And you
Yeah,
know, so I think that, yeah, I think there's just a lot more awareness about it.
I agree. I think Instagram, it can be a negative thing, but I think it definitely helped, get the right kind of information out there, and getting just recognition of the sport. Because, 10 years ago when I was doing this, everybody thought I was like this crazy person doing this weird thing. And yeah, it's nice to know that other people have awareness of the sport and kind of like what all goes into it. And even if they don't have the discipline, and like at least they recognize like, okay, this is like what she's doing, and she's not
Yeah.
like some weirdo.
Well, I also think that what was I going to say? I mean, as far as like God, I lost my train of thought. But
So
the perception of the sport too, I think has changed, I think somewhat, maybe from Instagram and just sharing information, but there's not a one size fits all. And that's what's great about Glam Girl is we have the unicorn prep. And, I didn't know what that was when I first started. It's like, I don't know the difference, but I actually, before I came to Glam Girl, I had trained with a different team. And when I came to Glam Girl, I saw the difference. It's like, you can eat food, you must eat carbs typically.
right.
Living a healthy lifestyle. One of the things I love most is, I know with our clients in particular, teaching women that it's not just about, you can't just cardio your way. So many women come
Hmm.
to us and they're like, well, I've been, doing tons of cardio and I've been eating 1,000 calories. And we're like, okay, we're going to switch that up.
Yeah.
Give you more calories, less cardio, and then, get you into a good strength training program because, muscle burns fat and keeps your body strong and healthy. And they're just amazed, like, oh my gosh, I never knew that I didn't have to like do 2 hours of cardio a day and eat no carbs and that I've lost weight. I'm more muscular. I look better. I fit in smaller clothes. I'm more confident.
Feel
What's not to
better.
love about that? Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and what's not to love about that? So,
Yeah.
that's what I really love about, even if, we have, ladies that come to Glam Girl that may not think they want to compete. And then they just kind of want to train as if they were, and then
Hmm.
they decide to compete. And then we
Yeah.
have women that come that don't ever want to compete at all. And they don't ever compete,
Yeah.
so
And that's okay
it's,
too. But
yeah,
yeah, it's cool to see that transition whenever that happens. Cause I feel like that happens quite a bit. Like they'll be like, oh, I just want to train like a competitor. And then you get the bug. And like
yeah.
you said, it's addicting. You do one show and then you want to do more and keep improving. So is there
I
any
think,
advice? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say another thing I've noticed, I think whenever, I mean, if you even go back and look at pictures, you can see anybody that's competed for the last 10 years, 5 years, whatever, you'll see the changes and the trends and the suit
Definitely.
styles and the posing styles. Posing's definitely changed a lot in the last
Ton.
5 years. It's important to stay up with that because, I do talk to women that have, they competed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and they're getting back on stage and, oh, I've got my suit. I'm like, yeah, you might want to get that out because it's probably not going to be the best suit for you now. And,
Nope.
do check your posing because, what you did 5 years ago isn't going to work now. So don't just, if you're looking at videos on YouTube, make sure you look at the date so that you know what you're looking
Exactly.
at to make sure it's up to speed. I also
Absolutely.
find too that I think your stage look has changed too. I see a lot more, and even Sandy has said this, a lot more about just being you. And so instead of going on with like
Mhm.
this cookie cutter look, like everybody's got either
Long
long blonde
hair.
extensions or long black extensions. Now you
Hmm.
see women come on stage with, natural curly hair, with short hair, long
Different
beachy
colors of hair.
waves, different colors of hair. And, it's important that a lot of the sport about your overall presentation of your package is your confidence.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I'll tell people when I'm doing suit consultations, when my coach says, that I should look at red, but I've never worn red. And it's not like, well, if you don't feel like comfortable in red, let's talk about another color. What do you feel comfortable in? Oh, this one.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's a great color for stage, so there's not just one recipe for success in your look.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if it doesn't translate well. I always ask people that too when we're talking about like hairstyle. Sometimes we try to fit it to what would look best with their body, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's like, do you feel pretty like that? Because
Yeah.
that's what really
Yeah.
matters is how you
That's
feel
important.
pretty.
Yeah.
And same with the suit too. I was just talking with a client the other day. I'm like, well, what do you feel pretty in? That's what you should go for. As long as
Yeah.
it's not too crazy, like
Yeah.
white or
And
something on an
well,
NPC
and I
suit.
know when I do suit consultations, I try to be honest. I will definitely steer a client in what I think is their best direction. But if I can tell that they're just not like, I can tell. And so then
Yeah.
I'll go back to, what do you feel the best in? That's
Mhm.
what's most important.
Yeah,
And if you're a
absolutely.
blonde and you feel amazing in yellow, that might not be my top recommendation, but let's see what we can do. Let's see what kind of a yellow suit we can make for you that's going to pop and still, make you feel confident. So,
Nice. Any other advice before we hop off? Any closing thoughts or questions that I didn't ask you that you want to share with
dying
our
to talk
audience? We had
about.
so many good nuggets. You have
Yeah.
such great wisdom.
No, I think I was looking here. I think just, why I continue to do this is, I always have to ask myself that at the end of every show, because, you know, so what if I would have got my pro card? What's the goal? Is that the goal? What's next? Well, you know, compete as a pro, but as a pro, it's even harder to like, I have a friend that transitioned. She got her pro card at 55, and I
Mhm.
saw her compete at a pro show, and I was like, oh my God, you look so like, her physique had changed so much. I was just beautiful. And she's like, oh, thank you so much for telling me that. She says, because I have to say it is hard, to go from being the winner all the time, because she was always placing
Mhm.
top, 5-3 at
Yeah,
nationals until she got her pro card. And then you become a pro, and now you kind of go
down to the
back
bottom.
to the
Yeah.
bottom. And she's like, it's hard to be in that group where they say everybody else step forward.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's when you really have to understand why you're doing this. And I do it just because, like we said, I like living the prep life. I like the discipline. I like how I feel and look in everyday life. And I like inspiring others. There's nothing more complimentary when, somebody that's, a former Olympian or even a current Olympian, and they'll say, Deb, I want to be like you when I grow up. And I'm like, really?
That's awesome.
Because they're saying, I want to continue to live this lifestyle, up until the age. And so that's really very flattering to me. It means a lot.
That's incredible. Well, if you would like to get in touch with Deb, I will put, first of all, her link to book a consultation and your Instagram handle. Do you want to share that with the audience? I'll type it in the
It's
show notes as well,
Yeah,
but
it's Get Fit Done. All spelled just the way it sounds. Get Fit Done. No spaces, no underscores. Easy.
yes, give her a follow. She's very inspiring. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us on Instagram at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini and tag her. Let her know what you thought. Give her some love. And if you would like to apply for her coaching, you can go to our website, glamgirlbikini.com, and hit the Get Started button. There's a drop down menu. So just request Deb there. And I'll also put that link as well in the show notes. So thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate your time. And thanks everybody
Thank you
for
so
listening.
much.
Bye.